The Deep Space Monitoring Station floated in the darkness like a metal spider. Its long arms reached out into space, covered with sensors and communication dishes. For 300 years, the station had watched the same yellow star. The beings inside called it Station Alpha 7. To them, it was just another boring assignment. Zethkar pressed his four-fingered hand against the control panel. His purple skin glowed slightly under the blue lights of the command center. He had been watching the third planet from that yellow star for 20 years. The creatures there were primitive. They barely knew how to fly in their own atmosphere. The Galactic Council had marked them as not dangerous long ago. Another day, another scan. Zethkar muttered to his assistant, Urieltok. These humans will not leave their planet for at least 200 more years, maybe 300. Urieltok. Green eyes blinked twice, which meant agreement in their species. The Council's computers are never wrong. These humans still fight each other with chemical explosives. They cannot even work together on their own world. Zethkar nodded and began the daily routine. He activated the long-range sensors and pointed them toward the human planet called Earth. The sensors could see everything from this distance. Human cities, their primitive spacecraft, even their weapons. Everything was normal and expected. But today was different. The sensors picked up something. Impossible. A massive energy signature was moving away from Earth. It was bigger than anything humans should be able to build. Much bigger. Urieltok, Zethkar called out, his voice shaking. Look at this reading. Urieltok moved quickly to the scanner station. His green eyes went wide when he saw the display. That cannot be right. The sensors must be broken. Zethkar ran the scan again. The same result appeared. Something huge was leaving Earth's solar system. Something that was creating more energy than most Council warships. Run a full diagnostic on all sensors, Zethkar ordered. His hands were shaking now. If this reading was real, then everything they knew about humans was wrong. The diagnostic took 10 minutes. All sensors were working perfectly. The reading was real. Send an emergency message to the Council, Zethkar said quietly. Tell them we have a code red situation. While Urieltok sent the message, Zethkar focused the sensors on the energy signature. Slowly, an image began to form on the main screen. What he saw made his blood turn cold. It was a ship. But not just any ship. This vessel was enormous beyond belief. It was 15 kilometers long and 3 kilometers wide. Its hull was dark gray metal that seemed to drink in starlight. Strange weapons covered its surface like metal thorns. Energy shields glowed around it like blue fire. By the Ancient Ones, Urieltok whispered. How did they build something like that? Zethkar could not answer. According to their records, humans had only achieved basic spaceflight 50 years ago. They should not be able to build anything bigger than a small transport ship. Yet here was a vessel that could probably destroy their entire monitoring station with a single shot. The ship moved through space with perfect control. Its engines created no visible flame, but the energy readings were incredible. Whatever power source it used was far beyond anything in the Council's database. What is its destination? Zethkar asked. Urieltok worked quickly at his console. It is heading directly toward Council space. At its current speed, it will reach the outer territories in 6 days. Zethkar felt sick. A human warship was coming toward the heart of galactic civilization. A warship that was bigger and more powerful than anything the Council had ever seen. His communication panel lit up with incoming messages. Other monitoring stations had detected the ship too. Station Beta 4 was requesting emergency instructions. Station Gamma 1 was asking if they should evacuate. Even the Deep Space Patrol ships were sending worried reports. Then the main communication array activated. It was the Council itself, calling from the capital world. Station Alpha 7, this is High Command, in the voice of War Master Krellineth. We have received your Code Red alert. Confirm your readings immediately. High Command, this is Commander Zethkar. Our readings are confirmed. A massive human vessel has left their solar system and is heading toward Council space. The ship appears to be 15 kilometers in length, with energy output exceeding Class A warship standards. There was a long silence from the other end. Finally, Krellineth spoke again. His voice was different now. Worried. Commander, that is impossible. Our intelligence reports show humans are centuries away from such technology. I am sending you the sensor data now. High Command. You can verify it yourself. Zethkar transmitted all the information they had gathered. The ship's size, its energy signature, its speed, its course. Everything they could measure. Another long silence followed. When Krellineth spoke again, his voice was tight with concern. All monitoring stations are ordered to maintain constant surveillance on this vessel. Do not attempt contact. Do not take any action that might be seen as hostile. We are calling an emergency session of the full council. The communication ended. Zethkar looked at Yara Tok, who was staring at the image of the human ship on their screen. What do you think they want? Rail Tok asked quietly. Zethkar had no answer. For 300 years, the council had watched and catalogued every species. In this part of the galaxy, they knew which ones were dangerous and which ones were safe. Humans had always been in the safe category, but now humans had built something that changed everything. A ship that could threaten the most powerful civilizations. In known space. A ship that proved humans were far more advanced than anyone had imagined. As Zethkar watched the human vessel continue its journey toward Council space, one thought kept running through his mind. If humans could build something like this in secret, what else were they capable of? And more importantly, were they coming in peace or war? The answers to those questions would determine the fate of everyone in the galaxy. The great council chamber on the capital world of Nexus Prime had never seen such panic. Representatives from 47 different species filled the massive circular room. Their voices created a noise like angry insects as they argued and demanded. Answers. High Counselor Vexthal stood at the center podium, his tall blue form trying to maintain order. His species had led the Galactic Council for over 1,000 years. They were known for staying calm in any crisis. But today, even Vexthal looked worried. Order? We must have order. Vexthal called out, his voice echoing through the chamber. Slowly, the noise died down. We are here because of an unprecedented situation. War Master Krellineth will brief. U.S. on the human vessel. Krellineth stepped forward. His species looked like large wolves that walked on 2 legs. They had been the Council's military leaders since the Great War 2 centuries ago. He activated a holographic display that showed the image of the human ship. Gasps filled the chamber. Even in hologram form, the vessel looked terrifying. Its dark hull seemed to absorb light. Weapon ports covered its surface like the eyes of a predator. Energy readings scrolled alongside the image, showing power levels that made many council members step backward. This is the human vessel that left their homeworld 18 hours ago, Krellineth announced. Our intelligence was completely wrong about their capabilities. This ship is larger than our largest dreadnought. Its power output exceeds anything in our combined fleets. Ambassador Tisara from the Crystalline Worlds raised one of her 4 arms. Her species looked like living jewels, and her voice sounded like musical chimes. How is this possible? Our scouts reported that humans were still using primitive rocket technology just 50 years ago. That is what we believed, Krellineth replied grimly. It appears humans have been developing their technology in secret. This vessel represents a quantum leap beyond anything we thought they could achieve. Representative Morgan from the Industrial Consortium slammed his metallic fist on his desk. His cyborg species had replaced most of their bodies with machines. Long ago. This is unacceptable. How did our intelligence networks fail so completely? Vexthul gestured for calm. Blame can be assigned later. Right now, we must decide how to respond. The vessel is currently heading toward our outer territories. At its present speed, it will reach the border in 5 days. Council Elder Quinder spoke up from her corner seat. She was ancient, even by the standards of her long-lived species. Her wisdom was respected by all. Has there been any attempt at communication from this vessel? None, Krellineth answered. It maintains complete communication silence. We do not know its intentions. The chamber erupted in worried conversations. Some species called for immediate military response. Others suggested hiding until the ship passed by. A few recommended evacuating the border worlds entirely. Ambassador Tissara stood again. What do we know about human psychology? Are they a naturally aggressive species? Counselor Vexthul consulted his datapad. Our anthropological studies suggest they are extremely tribal. They have a long history of warfare on their homeworld. However, they also show capacity for cooperation when facing external threats. In other words, Representative Morgan said harshly, they unite against enemies. We could all be considered their enemies now. War Master Krellineth activated another display. This one showed the positions of all Council military vessels in the region. I have ordered our border fleets to defensive positions. However, I must be honest with the Council. If this human vessel decides to attack, our current forces may not be able to stop it. The admission sent shockwaves through the chamber. The Council had not faced a real military threat in over 200 years. Most species had joined willingly, knowing they could not match the Council's combined strength. But now, a single ship from a species they had ignored was making their military leader admit defeat before any battle had begun. Elder Quinder spoke again, her old voice carrying clearly through the chamber. Perhaps we should consider that. This vessel comes in peace. If humans wanted to attack us, why send only one ship? Even a powerful ship would be vulnerable alone. Or, Representative Morgan countered, they are so confident in their technology that they believe one ship is enough to defeat us all. Vexthul looked around the chamber at the faces of his fellow council members. He saw fear in every species represented. The crystalline worlds were known for their bravery, but even Tissara looked nervous. The Industrial Consortium had never backed down from a fight, but Morgan was talking about defensive positions. What other intelligence do we have about recent human activity? Vexthul asked. Krellineth consulted his reports. Monitoring stations report that human space activity has increased dramatically in the past year. They have launched dozens of new satellites and space stations. Several large construction projects were detected in their outer solar system, but we assumed they were building industrial facilities. Industrial facilities, Tissara repeated quietly, or shipyards. Implication hung in the air like a dark cloud. If humans had built shipyards in secret, they might have built more than one vessel. The ship heading toward them might not be alone. Counselor Zarneth from the hive mind spoke for the first time. His species thought with a collective consciousness, making them excellent strategists. We must consider the possibility that this is a test. Perhaps humans are evaluating our defenses before launching a larger attack. Or, Elder Quinder said firmly, they are coming to make contact. Think carefully, colleagues. If humans wanted to destroy us, would they announce their presence so openly? This vessel makes no attempt to hide. Its energy signature can be detected from great distances. These are not the actions of a species planning a surprise attack. War Master Krellineth nodded slowly. The elder makes a valid point. However, we cannot ignore the military implications. This vessel represents a fundamental shift in the balance of power. If humans have this level of technology, what else might they possess? Representative Morgan activated his own display, showing economic data. Consider this as well. Our trade networks span 47 worlds. Our industrial output supports billions of citizens. If this human vessel represents hostile intent, everything we have built could be destroyed. The chamber fell silent as each representative considered the implications. The Galactic Council had existed for over 800 years. It had brought peace and prosperity to countless worlds. Now, all of that might be threatened by a species they had barely paid attention to. Vexthil finally spoke. I am calling for a formal vote. We have 3 options. First, we can attempt to make peaceful contact with the vessel. Second, we can prepare our defenses and wait to see their intentions. Third, we can evacuate our border territories and avoid contact entirely. The voting process took an hour. Each species had different concerns and different fears. The crystalline worlds wanted to try communication. The industrial consortium preferred military preparation. The hive minds suggested evacuation. When the final votes were counted, the result was close. 24 species voted for defensive preparation. 23 voted for attempted communication. None voted for evacuation. The council has decided, Vexthil announced. We will prepare our defenses while simultaneously attempting to establish communication protocols. War Master Krelinoth will coordinate military readiness. Ambassador Tisara will head the communication committee. As the session ended and representatives began filing out, Elder Quender approached Vexthil privately. You know what this means? She said quietly. Everything has changed. Whether these humans come in peace or war, the galaxy will never be the same. Vexthil nodded grimly. I know. The age of council dominance may be ending. We can only hope that if it is, the humans will be wise enough to maintain the peace we have built. Above them, in the depths of space, the human vessel continued its steady approach toward council territory, carrying with it the power to reshape the destiny of every living being in the galaxy. Commander Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the U-East Colossus, looking out at the stars through the main viewing window. He was a tall man with gray hair and calm blue eyes. At 52 years old, he had spent most of his life in space, but this mission was different from anything he had ever done before. Engineering report, Matt. Jake called to his chief engineer. Matt Collins looked up from his console. He was younger than Jake, with brown hair and an easy smile. All systems running perfectly, Captain. Fusion cores are operating at 60% capacity. We could run like this for 20 years without stopping. Dr. Lisa Hayes moved closer to Jake's command chair. She was the ship's chief scientist, a woman with red hair and green eyes who knew more about alien life than anyone on Earth. Captain, I'm picking up some interesting sensor readings. There are several artificial objects in this region of space. Jake nodded. Alien monitoring stations? Most likely, Lisa replied. They've been scanning us since we left our solar system. Their technology is more advanced than ours in some ways, but they seem surprised by our ship. On the bridge, Lieutenant Ben Taylor worked at the communications station. He was a young officer with black hair who spoke 7 Earth languages and had been studying alien communication patterns for years. Captain, I'm detecting multiple transmissions between the monitoring stations and what appears to be a central location. They're using quantum communication methods. Can you understand any of it? Jake asked. Ben shook his head. Not yet, sir. But the transmission patterns suggest they're very worried about something. Probably us. Jake turned to his tactical officer, Captain Ryan Mitchell. Ryan was a serious man with dark skin and sharp eyes who had served in Earth's defense forces for 15 years. Ryan, what's our defensive status? All shield generators. Online and functioning at full capacity, Ryan reported. Point defense systems are ready, but not activated. Our main weapons are powered down as ordered. Jake had made the decision to keep their weapons powered down as a sign of peaceful intent. The Colossus was armed with enough firepower to destroy entire fleets, but Jake wanted to make first contact as peaceful as possible. "Captain," Dr. Hayes called out, studying her science station. "I'm detecting active scans targeting our ship. Someone is trying to analyze our technology." "From where?" Jake asked. "Multiple sources. The monitoring stations are all scanning us simultaneously. They're trying to penetrate our shields and get detailed readings of our systems." Matt Collins laughed from his engineering station. "Good luck with that. Our adaptive shielding will adjust to any scanning frequency they use. They won't get through." Jake moved to the science station to look at the data himself. The readings showed multiple alien vessels attempting to scan the Colossus from different directions. Their scanning beams were sophisticated, but they couldn't penetrate the ship's defenses. "How long have they been scanning us?" Jake asked. "About 6 hours," Lisa replied. "The intensity has been increasing. I think they're getting frustrated." On the alien monitoring station, Alpha 7, Zethkar was indeed getting frustrated. He had tried every scanning method available, but the human ship's shields blocked everything. The adaptive technology seemed to predict their scanning frequencies and adjust accordingly. "Try the deep penetration scanners," Zethkar ordered his assistant. Ryoltok activated the most powerful scanners available to their station. These devices could see through the hull of any known vessel, but when they focused on the human ship, the beams simply bounced off harmlessly. "It's no use," Ryoltok reported. "Their shielding technology is beyond anything we've encountered. We can't get any detailed readings of their internal systems." Zethkar felt a chill run through his body. If they couldn't scan the human vessel, they had no idea what weapons it carried or how many crew members were aboard. The ship could contain anything. Back on the Colossus, Jake was receiving reports from all departments. The alien scanning attempts had been detected by every sensor array on the ship. His crew was handling the situation professionally, but he could see the tension in their faces. "Captain," said Amy Parker, the ship's sensor specialist. She was a young woman with blonde hair who had joined the crew straight from the Earth Space Academy. "I'm reading massive energy buildups on several of the alien monitoring stations. They appear to be powering up their defensive systems." Jake frowned. "Are they preparing to attack?" "Unknown, sir," Amy replied, "but their power levels are increasing rapidly. Some of their weapons are coming online." Ryan Mitchell looked up from his tactical station. "Captain, should I bring our defensive systems to full alert?" Jake considered the situation carefully. If he raised the ship's alert level, the aliens might see it as a hostile act. But if they were preparing to attack, his crew needed to be ready. "Bring shields to maximum power," Jake decided, "but keep weapons offline. I want them to know we can defend ourselves, but we're not looking for a fight." The Colossus's shields flared brighter as more power flowed into them. The energy output was incredible, far beyond what any alien vessel in the region could produce. On monitoring station Beta 4, Commander Velthak watched his sensors in disbelief. The human ship's shield strength had just doubled. The energy required for such shielding would drain the power core of his entire station in minutes. Yet the human vessel seemed to be running these shields as a normal operating procedure. "How much power does that ship have?" his assistant asked nervously. Velthak checked his readings again. "More than our entire defense fleet combined. This single vessel has the power output of a small star." Similar reports were coming in from all the monitoring stations. The human ship was demonstrating capabilities that seemed impossible. Its shields alone required more energy than most alien worlds produced in a year. On the capital world of Nexus Prime, War Master Krellineth was receiving these reports with growing alarm. The Council's best military minds were studying the data, and none of them had any good news. The human vessel's power source appears to be fusion-based, reported Chief Analyst Drexner. But the efficiency levels are far beyond our understanding. They're getting more energy from fusion than our models say is possible. Krellineth studied the tactical display showing the Colossus and all nearby Council vessels. What about weapons? Have we detected any offensive capabilities? That's the problem, Drexner replied. We can't scan through their shields to see their weapon systems, but based on the power available to them, they could mount weapons that would outclass anything in our fleets. Krellineth felt a deep worry settling in his chest. The Council had always maintained peace through superior military strength, but now they faced a vessel that might be stronger than all their forces combined. Back on the Colossus, Jake was making a decision that would change galactic history. Ben, he called to his communications officer, prepare a message for transmission. All frequencies, all known communication methods. What should the message say, Captain? Ben asked. Jake thought carefully about his words. This would be humanity's first message to an alien civilization. It needed to be perfect. Tell them we come in peace. We are explorers from the planet Earth. We wish to establish friendly contact with other intelligent species. We mean no harm to anyone. Ben worked quickly to prepare the message. He translated it into mathematical principles, universal scientific, constants, and simple pictographs. The message would be transmitted in ways that any advanced civilization could understand. Message ready, Captain, Ben reported. Send it, Jake ordered. The transmission spread out from the Colossus in all directions. It reached every monitoring station, every alien vessel, and every communication relay in the region. For the first time in galactic history, humanity was speaking to the stars. The message was simple, peaceful, and honest. But coming from a vessel with the power to destroy entire fleets, it carried weight that Jake Morrison could never have imagined. In monitoring stations across the region, alien commanders looked at each other with uncertainty. The humans claimed to come in peace, but they had arrived in a ship that could probably conquer half the galaxy. The question that filled every alien mind was the same. Could they trust these powerful newcomers, or was this the beginning of an invasion that would end their civilization forever? The message from the human ship reached every corner of Council space within hours. On the capital world of Nexus Prime, emergency meetings were happening in every government building. Fear had spread like a disease through the alien population. Ambassador Tisara sat in her crystal tower, trying to make sense of the human communication. Her species had always been good at understanding other cultures, but this message confused her. A word spoke of peace and friendship, but the ship that sent them was the most powerful weapon anyone had ever seen. The translation is accurate, her assistant confirmed. The humans claim they want peaceful contact. They call themselves explorers from Earth and say they mean no harm. Tisara looked out her window at the night sky. Somewhere up there, a human warship was waiting for their response. What do you think? Are they telling the truth? Her assistant, a younger crystal being named Lysara, flickered with nervous colors. I don't know. In our history, when a powerful species claims to come in peace, it usually means they plan to conquer us peacefully instead of destroying us. On the Colossus, Jake Morrison was growing impatient. It had been 12 hours since they sent their peaceful message, and there had been no response from any alien source. His crew was getting nervous. Still no answer, Captain, reported Ben Taylor from the communications station. The alien monitoring stations are still active, but they won't talk to us. Dr. Lisa Hayes looked up from her science console. Captain, I'm detecting increased activity on several alien worlds. Ship movements, energy buildups, what looks like evacuation procedures on some planets. Jake felt his heart sink. They think we're here to attack them. Can you blame them? Asked Matt Collins from engineering. We show up in the biggest warship they've ever seen and ask to be friends. It probably sounds like a threat to them. Captain, Ryan Mitchell spoke from the tactical station. Sir, I'm reading multiple alien fleets moving toward our position. They're staying far away, but they're definitely setting up defensive positions. Jake studied the tactical display. Red dots showed alien ships forming a loose circle around the Colossus, but keeping their distance. They were scared of his ship, but they were also preparing to fight if necessary. How many ships? Jake asked. Current count is 47 vessels, Ryan replied. More arriving every hour. They range from small patrol ships to what appear to be heavy cruisers. Jake did some quick math. 47 alien ships against one human vessel. Even with the Colossus's advantages, those were not good odds if fighting started. Any signs they're preparing to attack? Jake asked. Negative, sir, Ryan answered. They're maintaining defensive positions. Their weapons are powered up, but they're not targeting us directly. On monitoring station Alpha 7, Seth Carr was watching the same. Tactical display with growing terror. More and more council ships were arriving to face the human vessel. But instead of making him feel safer, it made him more afraid. Look at it, he said to Urialtok, pointing at the image of the Colossus. 47 of our best warships are surrounding it, and it just sits there. No fear, no defensive maneuvers, no attempt to escape. Either the humans are incredibly brave, or they don't think our entire fleet is a threat. Urialtok's green eyes were wide with worry. What if they're right? What if our combined fleet really can't hurt them? Before Zethkar could answer, his communication panel lit up with an incoming message from the Council. It was High Counselor Vex Thul himself. All monitoring stations. This is the High Council. We are authorizing limited communication with the human vessel. Station Alpha 7, you have been chosen to make first contact. Proceed with extreme caution. Zethkar felt his blood turn cold. They wanted him to talk to the humans, to the beings in that massive warship who could probably destroy his station with a thought. What should I say? Zethkar asked his assistant. Realtalk checked the communication protocols. The Council suggests starting with basic mathematical concepts. Universal. Constants. Nothing that could be seen as threatening or political. With shaking hands, Zethkar activated his transmission array. He began with simple numbers. 1 + 1 = 2. The value of pi. Basic physics formulas. Things that any intelligent species would understand. On the Colossus, Ben Taylor suddenly looked up from his console with excitement. Captain, we're receiving a transmission from one of the monitoring stations. It's mathematical in nature. Basic concepts, but it's definitely an attempt at communication. Jake felt a wave of relief wash over him. Can you respond? Yes, sir. I'll start with the same type of mathematical confirmations, then try to build toward more complex concepts. For the next several hours, the two species exchanged increasingly complex mathematical and scientific information. Slowly, a basic communication protocol began to develop. Dr. Lisa Hayes worked with Ben to create simple pictographs and universal symbols. The aliens seemed to understand their peaceful intentions, but they were still clearly terrified. Captain, Lisa said, I think I understand their fear. Imagine if a ship 10 times larger than anything we'd ever built suddenly appeared over Earth and asked to be friends. We'd be suspicious too. Jake nodded. What do you suggest? We need to show them we're not a threat. Actions, not just words. Jake thought about this. How could he prove peaceful intentions to a species that was terrified? Of his ship's power? Ben, he called out, send them our ship's basic specifications. Size, crew complement, purpose of mission. Show them we're explorers, not conquerors. The information was transmitted to the alien monitoring station. When Zethkar received it, he couldn't believe what he was reading. They're telling us about their ship, he reported to Ural Talk. It says here they have 50,000 crew members aboard. 50,000? Ural Talk repeated in shock. That's more people than we have on this entire station. And look at this. Zethkar continued. They claim this ship was built for exploration and peaceful contact with other species. They say they want to learn about alien cultures and share knowledge. Ural Talk looked skeptical. A ship that powerful, built for exploration? Who needs that much firepower to explore? Zethkar was wondering the same thing. But as he read more of the human transmission, a different picture began to emerge. The humans described their ship as a deep space exploration vessel, designed for long journeys far from their home world. They mentioned that they had built it to be self-sufficient and able to defend itself if necessary. Maybe, Zethkar said. Slowly, they built it so large because they planned to be away from home for many years. And maybe they armed it because they didn't know what dangers they might face in deep space. This was closer to the truth than Zethkar realized. The Colossus had been designed for a 20-year mission to explore nearby star systems. Earth's leaders had built it large enough to carry everything needed for such a long journey. The weapons were included because they had no idea what hostile forces they might encounter. But to the aliens, it looked like a conquest fleet compressed into a single massive vessel. On the capital world, High Counselor Vexthil was reading the same reports. With confusion, the humans claimed to be peaceful explorers. Their communications seemed honest and open, but their ship represented a level of military power that could threaten the entire council. What do you think? He asked War Master Krelinoth. Krelinoth studied the data carefully. Their story is consistent, but I remain concerned. Even if they truly come in peace, this demonstrates that humans are far more advanced than we believed. If they can build one ship like this, they can build others. Ambassador Tissara had joined the discussion. Perhaps that's exactly why we should treat them as friends rather than enemies. If they are this powerful, we certainly don't want them as enemies. Elder Quinder spoke from her seat in the corner. There is wisdom in the ambassador's words. Fear makes us see threats everywhere. But consider this. If the humans wanted to conquer us, would they send only one ship? Would they announce their presence and ask permission to communicate? The debate continued for hours. Some council members wanted to flee. Others suggested attacking before the humans could bring more ships. A few brave voices called for peaceful contact. While the council argued, Jake Morrison made a decision that would change everything. He decided to trust the aliens, despite their fear. Ben, he said, send them an invitation. Tell them we would welcome a small delegation aboard our ship. We want to meet them face to face and show them we mean no harm. The message was transmitted to every alien vessel in the region. The response was immediate and unanimous. Terror. The humans were inviting alien representatives onto their massive warship. To many aliens, this sounded like a trap. But to others, it sounded like an opportunity to learn the truth about these mysterious newcomers. The fate of galactic civilization now hung on whether anyone would be brave enough to accept the human invitation and step aboard the most powerful vessel anyone had ever seen. The council chambers on Nexus Prime had never been so quiet. For 3 days, the human invitation had remained unanswered. Representatives from 47 species sat in silence, each afraid to be the first to suggest accepting. Finally, Elder Quinder stood up slowly. Her ancient body moved carefully, but her voice was strong and clear. "I will go," she announced. The chamber erupted in shocked voices. Representatives jumped to their feet, speaking over each other in dozens of languages. "Elder." "You cannot," shouted Representative Morgan. "It could be a trap. You are too valuable to risk," added Ambassador Tissara. Elder Quinder raised one hand, and the chamber fell silent. Her species was known for wisdom, and even in this crisis, everyone respected her judgment. "I have lived for 300 years, she said calmly. "I have seen civilizations rise and fall. I have watched fear destroy more species than any weapon ever built. If these humans wanted to harm us, they would not need tricks or traps. Their ship alone could devastate our worlds." High Counselor Vexthil looked worried. "Elder, if something happens to you, then you will know the humans cannot be trusted." Quinder finished. "But if I return safely, we will know that peace is possible. Someone must take this risk. Let it be someone old enough to remember when the Council itself was formed through brave acts of trust." War Master Kralanoth stepped forward. "If the Elder goes, she will not go alone. I will accompany her with a small security team." "And I will join them," said Ambassador Tissara. "This is too important for military and wisdom alone. We need diplomacy as well." Within hours, a small shuttle was prepared. Elder Quinder, War Master, Kralanoth, Ambassador Thises _era, and 3 security officers would represent the entire Galactic Council in this historic meeting. On the Colossus, Jake Morrison watched the alien shuttle approach on his main screen. It was tiny compared to his massive ship, like a small bird flying toward a mountain. "Shuttle is requesting docking permission," reported Ben Taylor. "Granted," Jake ordered. "And Ben, make sure our translation systems are ready. This conversation needs to go perfectly." Dr. Lisa Hayes stood beside Jake's command chair. "Captain, I've prepared a full briefing on what we know about alien psychology and culture. We need to be very careful not to do anything that might seem threatening. What do you recommend?" Jake asked. "Small delegation to meet them. No weapons. Visible. Show them our peaceful areas first. The science labs, the medical bay, maybe the observation decks. Avoid the weapon systems in military areas." Jake nodded. "Good thinking. Matt, how are our systems?" Matt Collins looked up from his engineering station. "All non-essential weapons are powered down. Life support is optimized for multiple species. The ship is as peaceful as we can make it while still being ready for anything." The alien shuttle docked with the Colossus in the main bay. Jake had chosen a small team to greet their visitors. Himself, Dr. Hayes, Ben Taylor for translation, and Security Chief Danny Clark. But Danny would remain unarmed and in the background as the airlock opened. Jake got his first look at real alien beings. Elder Quinder was tall and thin, with pale skin that seemed to glow slightly. War Master Krell _Noth looked like a large wolf walking upright, with gray fur and intelligent yellow eyes. Ambassador Thises _era appeared to be made of living crystal, refracting light in beautiful patterns. "Welcome aboard the Colossus," Jake said slowly, allowing the translation system to convert his words. "I am Captain Jake Morrison. We are honored by your visit." Elder Quinder stepped forward carefully. Her translated voice was musical and calm. "I am Elder Quinder of the Galactic Council. This is War Master Kralanoth and Ambassador Tissara. We come seeking understanding." Jake smiled and gestured toward the corridor. "Please, let us show you our ship. We hope it will help you understand our peaceful intentions." The tour began in the science laboratories. Dr. Lisa Hayes explained. Their research into alien cultures and their excitement about meeting other intelligent species. The alien visitors seemed surprised by the genuine enthusiasm of the human scientists. "You have been studying us?" War Master Krellineth asked, his wolf-like ears perked with interest. "For decades," Lisa replied. "We detected signals from your civilizations long ago. Learning about other cultures has been one of our greatest dreams." Ambassador Tuzare's crystal form flickered with what seemed like curiosity. "Yet you built this warship to make contact. Why such massive weapons for a peaceful mission?" Jake had expected this question. "Ambassador, we built this ship for a 20-year exploration mission. We had no idea what dangers we might face in deep space. The weapons are for defense, not conquest. We hoped never to use them." They visited the medical bay next, where human doctors were excited to learn about alien biology and medicine. Then the observation decks, where crew members were studying star charts and planning peaceful exploration routes. But it was the crew quarters that made the biggest impression on the alien visitors. They saw human families living aboard the ship, children playing in recreational areas, scientists working together on research projects, teachers conducting classes. "These are your warriors?" Elder Quinder asked, watching a group of human children, learning about alien cultures in a classroom. "These are our people," Jake replied. "Scientists, engineers, teachers, families. We brought them with us because we wanted to build bridges between our species, not wage war." War Master Krellineth looked confused. "But your ship is armed like a fortress. These weapons could destroy entire fleets." Jake nodded seriously. "Yes, they could, but we hope they never will. We built them because we didn't know what we would find out here. Would you travel across unknown space without some way to protect your families?" The wolf-like alien considered this. His own species had a strong protective instinct. The idea of traveling to unknown regions without weapons would be unthinkable to them. Ambassador Tessara was studying the human crew interactions. "Your people seem genuinely peaceful. But your technology is so advanced. How did you develop such power so quickly?" Dr. Hayes smiled. "Necessity and cooperation. When we decided to explore beyond our solar system, our entire species worked together. Every nation, every scientist, every engineer contributed to building this ship. It represents the best of human achievement." Elder Quinder was quiet for a long time, observing everything. Finally, she spoke. "Captain Morrison, may I ask you a direct question?" "Of course, Elder." "What do you want from us? What are your true intentions in coming here?" Jake looked directly into her glowing eyes. "We want to learn. We want to share knowledge. We want to explore the galaxy together with friends instead of alone. We've dreamed of meeting other intelligent species for centuries. Now that we have, we hope to build a future where all our peoples can benefit from cooperation." The alien delegation exchanged glances. War Master Krellineth spoke first. "Your words sound honest, Captain. But understand our fear. Your single ship has more firepower than our combined fleets. If humans can build one vessel like this, you could build hundreds." "We could," Jake admitted. "But why would we? We have everything we need on our own worlds. We're not looking for new territory to conquer. We're looking for new knowledge to discover." Ambassador Tessara's crystal form brightened. "And if we asked you to limit your military shipbuilding? To prevent an arms race that could threaten everyone?" Jake considered this carefully. "That would be a decision for our government back on Earth, but I believe they would be open to reasonable agreements. We don't want to threaten anyone. We just want to explore and learn." Elder Quinder nodded slowly. "I believe you, Captain Morrison. Your crew, your ship, your words, they all tell the same story. Humans are not conquerors. You are explorers. with the power to defend yourselves. The meeting continued for several more hours. The aliens were shown more of the ship, including some of the defensive systems, but only to demonstrate that they were truly designed for protection, not attack. They met with human scientists, teachers, and even some of the children aboard the ship. When it was time for the alien delegation to leave, Elder Quinder made a formal statement. "Captain Morrison, I will report to the Galactic Council that humans represent a peaceful species with advanced technology. We would welcome formal diplomatic relations between our peoples." Jake felt a wave of relief and excitement. "Elder, nothing would make us happier. We look forward to learning from your civilizations and sharing what we know in return." Whoremaster Krellineth stepped forward. "Captain, I have one final question. If you are truly peaceful, why not share some of your defensive technology with a council? It would help convince others of your good intentions." Jake smiled. "War Master, we would be happy to discuss technology sharing. But wouldn't it be better if we worked together to develop even better technologies? Human engineering combined with alien science could create wonders neither of us could achieve alone." The alien delegation returned to their shuttle with their fears replaced by hope. Within days, formal communications were established between Earth and the Galactic Council. Trade agreements followed, then scientific exchanges, then cultural programs. The Colossus became a symbol of peaceful exploration rather than a threat. It continued its mission, now with alien scientists and diplomats aboard, exploring the galaxy and building bridges between spec